Despite rising crime becoming a top issue for Chicago residents in recent years, voters there last night elected progressive Brandon Johnson to be the city's next mayor, narrowly defeating pro-police candidate Paul Vallas in the runoff election. The results sparking concerns for some that the new mayor, who previously backed defunding the police, will not work well with city officials in addressing the Windy City's worsening crime crisis. Let's bring in Raymond Lopez. He's a Democratic Chicago alderman and a former mayoral candidate himself. Raymond, thanks for being with us. There's a sense among many in Chicago that if you thought Lori Lightfoot was too far to the left, you ain't seen nothing yet. Your thoughts about Brandon Johnson's victory?
Well, I definitely agree. Brandon is left of left, if there's ever a better explanation of where his politics lie. He has made defunding the police a priority, even though he's tried to walk back those comments. He has stated that this election was a power struggle between black labor and white wealth, and he's used the race card at every turn. What concerns me is, as you mentioned, crime still remains the #1 issue in the city of Chicago. And if you have a mayor who doesn't see a value in replacing the filling the 1,600 vacant police officer positions and redirecting that money towards catchphrases like treatment, not trauma, and root causes without addressing criminals in the here and now, it's only going to exacerbate the problems in the city of Chicago, especially with his ally Kim Foxx not wanting to prosecute any of the criminals that we catch.
Yeah, as you point out in a 2020 interview, Johnson described defunding the police as, quote, an actual, real political goal. As you mentioned, he's since backed off on that, but often you can tell what's actually in somebody's heart by looking at the first thing that they say. However, he, and you alluded to this, says he wants to get to the root causes of crime, which he described this morning in the following way. Listen here.
There's a direct correlation between youth employment and violence reduction. There's a direct correlation between investing in mental health care related services, mental health professionals, and violence reduction. There's a direct correlation between affordable housing and good paying jobs. I mean, these are the dynamics that ultimately prevent crime.
What he says would seem to make sense, but does he have the policies to carry that out?
Well, I think everything that he said is true, and all of us want to see that enacted in the city of Chicago. But at the same time, you have to address and hold criminals accountable for their actions right now. Everything that he talks about will take a generation to implement because it has to undo the years of systemic disinvestment and the lawlessness that's been allowed to persevere in the city of Chicago. We have to be able to do both. We have to address root causes, but also address those criminals right now who have gone unchecked for nearly 5 years. And I think that unless he is able to control the left and extreme left policies that he and his socialist colleagues in the city council are trying to push forward, he will find that this will be a very tumultuous term because you have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time in order to govern the city of Chicago.
Of course, education, another big issue there in Chicago. Brandon Johnson has got deep ties to the Chicago Teachers Union. American Federation of Teachers President Randi Weingarten came out in support of him. Here she is in a Howard Dean moment. Listen here.
I watched Paul Vallas ruin the New Orleans school system. I watched Paul Vallas fire black teachers in New Orleans. I watched Paul Vallas divide and tear that community apart.
So what does this mean, this victory for education in Chicago?
Well, many of us have deep concerns about the status of public education in the city of Chicago because of the fact that our new mayor was not only a union organizer, but the union's chief lobbyist in addressing their concerns. And we still have a district that is going into the next year $600 million in the red, where 26% of our students are able to read, 24% are able to understand math. And all of this is coming to a head as we're seeing a decline in enrollment. And our mayor-elect has said that he has almost no disagreements with the teachers union that is responsible for educating our youth. And that is problematic on many levels because if you don't see anything wrong with what's going on, if you don't see anything wrong with nearly 75% of our kids not being able to achieve basic minimum test scores from the state, we're going to have a serious problem not only addressing their education, but putting them on a path that leads to better prosperity for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I'm out of time, but Ray, one quick question, if I could. Do you expect that the exodus of big corporations from Chicago will continue under this next administration, or might he stem the bleeding?
Briefly, I will say that if we do not find a balance between growth and opportunity, we will see the taxes and the programs and the social decline push businesses out of the city of Chicago faster than what we've seen up to this point.
All right, Raymond Lopez, alderman from the city of Chicago, thanks for being with us. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.